a week ago, Netflix dropped a new rom-com called My Oxford Year, starring Sophia Carson and the guy from Bridgerton. And I feel like Netflix has been making these types of movies a lot more lately, especially with them releasing The Lifeless, which also stars Sophia Carson, and I think they released that like not too long ago. And I didn't fully enjoy that movie, but I figured I might as well give My Oxford Year a shot because I was craving a good rom-com. But spoiler alert, it's really not worth it. So today I want to talk a little bit about the movie, my summation and review on it, and go into why rom-coms were so good back in the day. Okay, so the movie is about Anna, who is an ambitious young American woman who goes to the UK to study at Oxford to basically fulfill her childhood dream. And then she meets her professor, whose name is Jamie, and yeah, that's basically the premise. And it's about their love story. Anna's main thing is that she loves books, and that's why she decided to go to Oxford and study poetry for a year before she heads back to New York, where she's set up to take a job at Goldman Sachs. I forgot what the job was. I don't know. I don't think it's relevant. All that I remember is that she said it pays like really well, which is why she wants to go back to New York to do that instead of doing something in literature or poetry. So this movie from the get-go really wants to show you that she loves poetry and literature. Like in the beginning, you see her carry around this one book by Henry David Thoreau called Walden, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I remember reading this in my AP Lang class like in 11th grade and doing a bunch of assignments on it. And like, sure, maybe Anna just likes reading that book, but I feel like is the movie trying to show how smart and not like other girls Anna is without putting any effort into building her character with authors like that you won't find in your high school classroom. Like, does that make sense? Like, how impossible would it be to have her read like some Ocean Vuong or Pablo Neruda or like some author that I think would make more sense with the character they're trying to build? Like, I feel like it feels like the equivalent of asking someone, oh, what's your favorite book? And they say To Kill a Mockingbird or something. I feel like that's uniquely American, but the point still stands. It's like, no, that's not your favorite book. That's probably just the only book you've read in years because you're mandated to read it in school.
So, Anna, why did you choose Oxford?
I have a library fetish.
Okay.
I just love being surrounded by books.
Continuing on with this rant somewhat, let me just set the scene again. Okay, this girl, she leaves New York to study poetry at Oxford University, and they can't even bother to write any classroom scenes that offer any depth or analysis into the poems that they're reading. Like, I didn't sign up for like a super in-depth movie, but like they made the scene so high school-esque, and it just doesn't make sense because they're at Oxford. Like, do a little world building. You don't have to have 20 classroom scenes. I'm asking for one good one to like actually immerse me into the story, and like it would help build the characters too. Like, I don't need shallow scenes. I need good scenes with good poetry and good analysis. Like, I just felt like that would add to the story. And like, if you can't tell, I love literature, so watching this was painful. One, because I was not invested in the romance. They could not make me care about it. And two, the world building around the romance was so bad. I was like, there was nothing to latch onto in this movie, and yeah, I really did not like it. Like, I know I keep saying this, but all of that just took away from the immersion of the story, which, don't get me wrong, yes, rom-coms are meant to be escapism and fun and romantical, but this wasn't like a fun type of escapism where the meet cutes are so perfect or something. It was just so cringy. And no hate to Sophia Carson, but like, I think maybe it's because I just remember seeing The Lifeless and now I'm seeing this, but it feels like she's playing the same character over and over. I don't know, maybe it's just Netflix sucking at writing good female romantic lead characters, but I swear her character here and the one that she plays in The Lifeless are so similar.
Understand me?
No, I understand you perfectly. You're saying that all Americans are stupid.
No, you're, blunt, naive, which I happen to find endearing.
And about what exactly are we so painfully naive?
Little things. Geography, world history, your gun culture, your impact on other countries, your willful celebration of ignorance.
Yeah, you piss the and go home.
And your absolute inability to understand irony and sarcasm.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. Perhaps you could teach me about irony. I'm sure you're a great teacher.
Actually, and I probably could help you.
Hey.
Okay, I'm gonna be really honest, the rest of the movie, or honestly the whole movie, isn't really interesting, so I'll skip to the most important parts. Anna and her professor Jamie start hanging out and they get closer despite Anna being warned away by one of Jamie's closest friends. And then see, like, the movie's so bad I can barely remember the plot and I just watched it like 10 minutes ago. But after that, Anna finds out that Jamie has cancer, which killed his brother earlier on, and now Jamie decided, hey, I don't want to do treatments because I'm just prolonging my death. I think they tried to do like a Me Before You ripoff, and I was like, no, it's not working. And also, I love Me Before You, so this just made me hate this movie, My Oxford Year, more. Anyways, Jamie basically keeps getting sick, and then he and Anna still decide to travel around Europe together because earlier on in the movie he like said a list of things you need to do around Europe, and when he dies, Anna decides to continue her trip around Europe. And then I think after that she takes the job that Jamie used to have as the poetry professor at Oxford. But that's basically the entire movie. I definitely skipped over like most of the film, but there isn't much more to say, and watching this made me think back to the era of actually good romance movies and rom-coms. No one asked for this type of movie, like no one asked for My Oxford Year. Still, this is like the same vibe of the movies we keep getting, especially from Netflix, and I just want a movie that gives that 2000s classic rom-com vibe, which now leads me to the second part of this video. Here's the thing, rom-coms in the 2000s had a certain magic to it, and it wasn't just the fashion or the fact that every soundtrack was just like so perfectly curated. I mean, yeah, that did add to it, but it was really a mix of the chemistry between the characters, character work, and a real sense of world building that made you want to live in these movies. Even if you knew exactly how they end, if you knew the formula to rom-coms, the journey was so fun, you just didn't care. You wanted that formula, and it's so perfect. And still, even with that formula, movies today can't capture that magic. So there are a few reasons why I think they worked so well back in the day. Back then, rom-com protagonists had quirks, real flaws, and jobs or like hobbies that felt like well thought out. Okay, so an example is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Andy isn't just a girl who writes, she's a journalist trying to break out of the how-to fluff pieces that her editor keeps assigning her, if I remember this movie right. And her scheme in the movie is to write an article about how to drive a man away in 10 days, and it builds her personality really well as someone who's clever, stubborn, and a little bit chaotic, and all of that is shaped by her ambitions. And on the other hand, Ben isn't just the love interest either. He's confident and he's trying to land a diamond campaign. And that's how his own bet ties into their whole cat and mouse dynamic. Like, every single part of the movie worked well together. The jobs weren't just random details in their character bios. They created conflict and gave them motives and just built the characters so well, which made it so easy for audiences to attach to them. Comparing that to My Oxford Year, the characters feel really shallow to me, and their stories felt really incoherent sometimes. Like, in one part of the movie, Anna basically is talking to Jamie about her job that I mentioned that she has waiting back for her in New York that has good pay and everything, and he's like, oh, but what would your younger self want or would have wanted for you? And Anna, she stands firm and she's like, no, I can't do that. I can't do whatever I want because I need that kind of money. I don't have any safety net. And she basically tells him not everyone can live comfortably off of a teacher's salary, so a dig on him. But then at the end of the movie, she spends her time traveling around Europe and ends up taking Jamie's old position as a poetry professor. I don't know if the movie had an explanation for it because I kind of blanked out near the end. But what happened to all of her financial stuff from before? Like, doesn't that still exist? It's things like these that really weaken the plot for me and my entire interest in the movie. '2000s rom-coms really thrived on slow burn tensions, the sort of witty back and forth, and the will they won't they dynamic. I love how they built it up, and it was like every look, every scene, every almost confession was a step towards their inevitable kiss or when they got together. And it wasn't just about shoving two attractive people into the same frame and calling it chemistry. It was about letting us watch them fall in love moment by moment until we were practically begging them through the screen to admit it to each other. Like in 27 Dresses. Oh my god. When I saw their wedding scene at the end, it felt so perfect because it was like the reward for watching Jane's entire arc. She spends the whole movie putting herself aside for everyone else, the eternal bridesmaid, the fixer, the yes person, and she even gets punished for it, which is so annoying to me. But Kevin challenges her, frustrates her, calls her out, but also sees her in a way that no one else can. And when we get to the wedding, it's not just a romantic payoff, it's an emotional one, it's a character payoff. Like, everything about the ending just made me happy, and it had that magic that 2000s movies capture so incredibly well. The best rom-coms don't just give us love stories, they give us language we carry with us for years. Lines that become shorthand for a whole feeling. Think about Notting Hill, where she says, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her. Like, it's such a simple line, but it's so vulnerable and it sticks in your head forever. That's not just about romance, it's about connection so deep it cuts through all the noise. These lines work because they're tied to moments where the characters are emotionally cracked open. The words matter because we spent the entire film watching them earn the right to say them. And in modern rom-coms, a lot of the time, you finish the movie and 5 minutes later you can't remember a single exchange. So maybe this is just the nostalgia talking, but I think it's more than that. And there's actually some psychology to back this up. Stories that linger with us tend to hit what psychologists call the peak end rule. We remember the emotional high points of an experience and the way it ends. Classic rom-coms built those highs through slow burn tension, iconic dialogue, and satisfying resolution, so the whole experience really stuck in our minds. And there's also somewhat the parasocial attachment part of it. When characters feel layered and real, we form one-sided emotional connections to them, almost like we would with a friend. And that's why we still talk about couples like Andy and Ben or Jane and Kevin years later. And that's why these newer modern rom-coms just won't stick. There is no parasocial attachment because movies aren't making us care about them. When modern rom-coms skip the tension, flatten the characters, and drop forgettable dialogue that they hope will stick, they're cutting out the very ingredients that make our brains care. Without that, you don't just lose the magic, you lose the memory of it. Until modern rom-coms start focusing on these things again, we'll keep getting these bland, forgettable movies that feel more like homework than something that makes your heart flutter. This video definitely strayed a little away from my usual format of including psychology throughout the video instead of near the end, but I really enjoyed making this, so please let me know if there's any more movies like this you'd like me to watch and make commentary on, especially if I can take a psychological analysis to it. I would love to do that. And please let me know if you enjoyed this video. What are your thoughts on my Oxford year? If you enjoyed it or not, please let me know all of this down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching.